is Stephanie Rubio, and I will be giving a brief history of the Catalan language. Catalan is a member of the Occitano-Romance branch of the Romance language family. It is mainly spoken in and around Catalonia, which is an autonomous community in Spain. Like all Romance languages, Catalan developed from dialects of Vulgar Latin. As you can see here, the earliest form of Occitano-Romance had developed by the 8th century. So following Occitano-Romance, then we have Old Occitan and Old Provençal. And then here we have Old Catalan from the 10th to the 14th centuries, which I will be speaking from the 10th to about the 18th century. So, in researching the historical background of the Catalan language, it's been interesting to see that much of the change that it has undergone has been due to political and leadership issues in Spain and hence in Catalonia itself. The Catalan-speaking region of Spain is found in the northeast area of the country, and it includes Catalonia, Valencia, the Balearic Islands, and Andorra, as well as an eastern strip of the provinces of Huesca, Zaragoza, and Teruel. Catalonia, which is the most well-known Catalan-speaking region, is separated from France by the Pyrenees. It borders Aragon on the west and Valencia to the south. Its eastern border is the Mediterranean Sea. As this area shares a border with France, it is understandable that there are actually some cultural and political ties between the two countries, which explains how Catalan in some ways linguistically resembles Provençal, which is the language of southern France. What stands out the most of the history of Catalan is that it has been involved in almost continual struggle from prominence with Castilian, which is Spanish. In the 10th century, the Catalan counties began to reconquer territory from the Moors. The Count of Barcelona came to power over the counties, and Barcelona became known as the capital. Also, with the union of Catalonia and Aragon at the beginning of the 12th century, Catalan began to spread south toward the islands and establish itself in literature as a defined language. Latin was not disregarded, but it did take somewhat of second place to Catalan in the common spoken community. And actually, by the 13th century, Catalan became solidified as the national language, especially regarding its position in the literary works of the time. Even works that were originally written in Latin were then translated into Catalan and distributed. The literacy rate climbed, and Latin became less and less important. By the 15th century, this proved to be one of the greatest importance in the history of all languages, as it is known for the invention of the printing press. With the new technology, the prominence that Catalan had come to enjoy was even more widely recognized. Despite the triumph, however, Catalan suffered somewhat of a blow at this time as well. The Renaissance humanists of the day contributed to a revival of Latin as a cultural language and within the church as well. Translation of Latin to Catalan happened less and less as a result, and in fact the trend was one of becoming familiar with many different languages, and this included French and Italian, leaving Catalan to suffer in its popular standing. Some actually say that these circumstances are the complete cause of the downfall. The submission, however, occurred when Ferdinand of Catalonia Aragon married Isabel of Castile in 1469. Their goal became to unify Spain, and in this sense, this historical event is a major turning point in Catalan history. Catalonia became part of the Spanish crown, and the idea was that in order for Spain to achieve her desired unification, all of her people must speak the same language, which was Castilian. The Catalan regions were, of course, the main target of the effort, and Castilianization began to take effect throughout all of Valencia and Catalonia. Castilian became known as the language of the upper class, and as such, also had the support of the church. Catalan, in that case, was actually progressively relegated to plebeian rank, and the superordinate language was adopted as a status symbol, even by some non-mobile segments of society. This, as would be expected, caused the spread of Catalan to slow to a near standstill. However, Catalan never ceased to be spoken or written and remained the normal medium of elementary education, business, and regional government affairs until early into the 18th century. There did continue to be a battle between Catalan and Castilian as each language reflected a certain group in society. On the one hand, the popular classes, which were agricultural workers, laborers, and craftsmen, and sectors of bourgeoisie, who spoke only Catalan and understood nothing or little of Castilian. And on the other hand, the ruling classes and those intellectuals who were diglossically bilingual. As I said, I was just going to give a brief presentation here of the history of the Catalan language. My team members are going to be focusing on specific centuries, but I hope that you did take something from out of this presentation, and that maybe my team members' presentations will further that understanding of the Catalan language. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope to be able to read some of the questions that you will provide me. Thank you. Have a beautiful day.